everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. It's so great to see you on this beautiful day. And as Carlos said, amazing that you're here and not at the beach or the pool or somewhere else. It shows your commitment to the resistance, which is something that, as he said, we need to continue throughout the summer. So in past meetings, we've talked about how things are different in the Rhode Island State House this year. There's so much energy in that State House. All of you are showing up. So many more as well are showing up in numbers that they've never seen before. It's caused a real stir in the State House, and it's my belief, and I think many people's belief, that it's causing a lot of positive change for our progressive values and the things that we're putting forth. So a few of the things that I want to talk about for successes so far are some successes in the environment. We've had Governor Raimondo has pledged to abide by the Paris Agreement, which I think is a huge success. As well, our State House is committed to extending renewable energy growth in Rhode Island, which is another success. We've been successful through the energy and commitment of people who were devoted to this cause to reinstate funding for RIPTA money for our most vulnerable to be able to house the rest for free. I think that's a huge win. And then, though these are minor successes, and we would have liked them to be a little bit more than they are, the free tuition plan did pass in a much abridged version, but still an amazing accomplishment. And we've also seen a modest, but still an increase in Rhode Island's minimum wage. So those are not really where we want them to be, but we're moving in the right direction. And finally, we were able to restore some of the governor's proposed Medicaid cuts to nursing homes, which is another huge win for us. A couple of things have been failures and things that we do feel could have gone better and we hope are better in the future. One of those is reproductive rights. The reproductive rights bill did not go anywhere this year, but it's something to work on next year. And also immigration legislation we were not successful with. The Trust Act and driver's licenses were both voted, well, driver's licenses were voted down. Though it is important to say that we did get a vote on driver's licenses, which is a win in itself, in that they allowed that to be something that was voted on, and in the past it would have been dead on arrival. So that's kind of unfortunate that it didn't go through, but still something to feel pretty good about. So because of the way that the Rhode Island State House works, and I'm sure many of you know this, most of the action happens right at the end. So this is the last week of the legislative session, and most things that we're going to vote on are going to happen in the next week. So here are some really important ones that we feel have a really good chance of passing. One of those is the Domestic Violence Gun Control Bill, and we have a bunch of people with that bill. We've done a huge amount of work, and this work has started years and years ago, and this resistance has added to their energy and helped to push this forward, and it's just amazing. So tomorrow at 3:30, the bill is going to be voted on in the House. Yes. So anyone who can show up for that would be extremely helpful. You could also call Mattiello or your legislators to influence that vote. Earned sick time is another bill that's right in there. We're really hoping that that's going to pass this year. There's going to be a vote on that Wednesday at 4 p.m. Conversion therapy has another good chance of passing. And then the bill that codifies some of the coverage requirements for the ACA is going to be voted on Tuesday. Net metering, and also the worker-owned cooperative bill. So not to give you a whole list, but these are things that are really looking positive within the State House this year, and I think that that's amazing, because in the past we might have seen 2 or 3 progressive bills that were passed, but look at the number of bills that we have the potential of passing this year. So we have 3 things that you can do this summer to push forward our progressive resistance and movement. The first thing is to get active this week. I know the weather's great, but this is the last week, this is the big push. Show up at your legislators, at the State House, like I talked about. We'll definitely send you all those things to remind you of doing that. But you can call your legislators as well this week, but this final push is really important. There also will be a healthcare rally this week. I know many of you are concerned, as we all are, and wondering if we're going to have a rally for that Wednesday or Thursday after work time, 5:30, 6 o'clock. We still need to work out the details for that, but we'll give you information on that. So showing up to that, large numbers, that's a really important thing. Do that before you go out to dinner or something like that if it's a nice day. And then the second thing that George is going to talk about next is local organizing. We need to connect at a local level to sustain this movement. Not only is it going to be more sustainable, but it's also going to be more fun because we'll know people who live right in our area that we can get together with, kind of make new connections and friendships and all work together toward progressive goals. And then finally, the campaigns and elections are coming up. We can't wait till 2018 to start talking about that. We'll have a breakout group about that today. So those three things are top on my agenda for things to do this summer. So just to let you know, after the meeting today, we're going to drive or walk, whatever you like to do, over to the State House, and we're going to chalk up the parking lot, as in chalk, like drawing things chalk. I'm not sure exactly what the theme's going to be yet, but
things that need to pass this next week.
We can just write it all down. Pictures, who knows. So we'll gather in the cafeteria after the meeting if you'd like to come. And that's it for me for now. I want to say thank you again for coming, and you guys are what makes this resistance work. So off to Georgia.